Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nishtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityaṁ bhāgavata-sevayā Bhagavati Uttama-shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Ārādhayo Bhagavan Vrajeshatanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam Ramya Kachetupasanam Vrajavadhu Vargena Va Kalpita Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Pramanam Prema Pumartho Mahan Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhur Matam Idam Tatradarana Paraha Guruve Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Thank you, dear worshipable devotees, for joining. We are reading Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the Amala Purana, the transcendental ripened fruit of all the Vedic scriptures. And in that, we are reading a very special section of Khatwang Maharaj, who was in this dynasty of Ishwakukul. Khatwang Maharaj was no ordinary person. When he was at the age of Navya, he was not interested in ordinary things. Like Navya doesn't like ordinary things. He was only interested in the Supreme Lord. That's the greatness of great souls. Even Prahlad Maharaj, when all the children used to play in you have games period or sports period in school? I don't know, what do you call? You have such games period, sports period in schools?
PT period.
PT, physical training, something? Okay, we had the games period when I was in my school. So, and recess is basically lunch break, right? So whenever they used to have like a spare time, all the kids would play, but Prahlad Maharaj would not be interested in playing because it's frivolous, waste of time. Rather, he would take a class of his classmates and teach them Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, etc. So that was similarly in the same way we were talking about Khatwang Maharaj as well. And we heard a small clipping from Srila Prabhupada as well, that he would always see Krishna everywhere. So with that, we will read the next verse about Khatwanga Maharaj. This continues. The story of Khatwang Maharaj continues, and we're almost towards the end of this chapter. So let's read from text 45. Devai kama varo datto Mayyam tri bhuvaneshwarai Navrinetam aham kamam Bhuta bhavana bhavanaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. The demigods, the directors of the three worlds, wanted to give whatever benediction, wanted to give me, so Khatwang Maharaj is thinking like this, whatever I desired, okay? I did not want their benedictions, however, because I'm interested in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who created everything in this material world. I am more interested in the Supreme Personality of Godhead than in all material benedictions. Purport: a devotee is always transcendentally situated. Param drishtva nivartate. One who has seen the Supreme Personality of Godhead is no longer interested in the material sense enjoyment. Even such an exalted devotee as Dhruv Maharaj went to the forest for the sake of material benefit. But when he saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he refused to accept any material benediction. He said, Swamin kritartho asami varam nayache. My dear Lord, I am fully satisfied with whatever you have given me or not given me. So deep point to kind of contemplate. I'm fully satisfied with whatever you have given me or not given me. I have nothing to ask for it from you, for I am fully satisfied to be engaged in your service. This is the mentality of a pure devotee who does not want anything material or spiritual from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Our Krishna consciousness movement is therefore called Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Sangha, the association of persons who are simply satisfied in thoughts of Śrī Krishna. Being absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna is neither expensive nor troublesome. Krishna says, "Man-mana bhava mad-bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru." Engage your mind always in thinking of me. Offer obeisance and worship me. 934. Also in 18.65. Also same line. Exactly. This line of Bhagavad Gita is repeated as it is. Same word verbatim. Anyone can always think of Krishna without difficulties or obstacles. This is called Krishna Bhāgavatam. One who is absorbed in Krishna Bhāgavatam has no material benefits to ask from Krishna. Instead, such a person always prays to the Lord for the benediction of being able to spread his glories all over the world. Mam janmani janmanishware bhavatad bhaktir ahetuki tvai. A Krishna conscious person does not even want to stop his cycle of birth and death. He simply prays, I may take birth as you like. But my only prayer is that I may be engaged in your service. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So again, the glorious Khatwang Maharaja is thinking about it. As we were discussing this point, that most people in the material world, what do they ask for? Material benedictions. Pretty straightforward. Majority of the people want material benedictions like good house, good health, good son, good daughter, good husband, good wife, good job, good this, good. Ultimately eating, sleeping, mating, defending in a refined way. Here, Khatwang Maharaj is thinking, they wanted to give him, they means demigods, whatever I desire, right? If he would have said, I want a mountain of gold, they would have easily given it. If he would have said, I want 10,000 palaces, they would have easily given it. If he would have said, I want 10,000 pizzas, they would have given it. Whatever he would have asked, he would have given it. But what did he say? I am more interested in the Supreme Personality of Godhead than all the material benedictions. Prabhupada is quoting this verse. Swamin kritartho asmi varam nayache. My dear Lord, I am fully happy in your service. Very deep point. Great devotees relish the service of the Lord, not the things of the world. You have given me, or whatever you have given me or not given me, I am fully happy. Gratitude. We were talking about this in the kids class also. Gratitude helps to be happy in what we have. And we have the best thing actually. Srila Prabhupada, the Bhagavatam, the holy name, Krishna Prasad, these are the real benedictions we have been bestowed with. And the whole Krishna consciousness movement, Krishna Bhavana Amrita in Hindi, you say, or Sanskrit, Krishna Bhavana Amrita, to purify our conscious or to dovetail our consciousness, to make it, to always think of Krishna. Man mana bhava mad bhakto, become my devotee. Madhyaji mam namaskuru. Yesterday also we were talking about Mamivesh satyam te pratijani priyosime. 18.65. Maybe 65. So, okay, maybe our scholars are there, so I feel confident. They know better. So such a person. Now Prabhupada is also making a point here that a devotee is not interested in material or spiritual benedictions. They do not want anything material or spiritual. That's an interesting point. Okay, we understand about material. We should not ask for money, wife, gold, home, all these things. But even to desire Krishna, you take me back home, back to Godhead. Pure devotees don't even aspire that. Because it's like putting our will in front of the Lord. That Lord, I want you to do this for me. But a pure devotee says, Krishna, Marubi Rakhubi Amito Tumar. You make me an ant, but make sure that I can get the remnants of devotees. You send me to Patal. You send me to Rasatal. Send me anywhere. Like Bali Maharaj in Sutal Loka, happily serving. Because Krishna is always with him. That's what I want. Krishna, you never leave me. Marobi Rakhobi Amito Tomar. Krishna, you leave me, protect me. I will always be yours. I will not leave you. You don't leave me. So the point is, Mama Janmani Janmanishwar Prabhupada is repeating that we should always ask for bhakti. Not that Krishna, I don't want to take birth again. If you want, I'll continue to take birth. If you want the dog body, that's fine. Your will. But I will be your dog. I'll be your pet dog. Sarvasya. Tomar Charani Priya. Amito, Tumito Thakur, Amito Mara Kukur. I'm your pet dog. So many bhajans talk about the same point, that a pure devotee does not ask anything, whether material or spiritual, because a pure devotee always wants to be happily engaged in Krishna's service. I may take birth as you like, but my prayer is, please always engage me in your loving devotional service. That was Khatwang Maharaj's mood, the mood of pure devotee, only interested in Krishna. Very high level, but that's what we aspire for. So we read about him so we can one day be like him. Yes, Navya has her hand raised. You want to read?
Doesn't want to read. She's feeling a bit shy. So. Hare Kṛṣṇa. Ye vikshiptendriyadhiyo devaste swahriti sthitham na vindanti priyam shashvad atmanam kim utapare. Translation. Even though the demigods have the advantages of being situated in the higher planetary system, their mind, senses, and intelligence are agitated by material conditions. Therefore, even such elevated persons fail to realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is eternally situated in the core of the heart. What then is to be said of others, such as human beings who have fewer advantages? Purport. It is a fact that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is always situated in everyone's heart. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hridaya arjuna tishtati. But because of our material anxieties, which are inevitable in this material world, we cannot understand the Supreme Lord, although he is situated so near us. For those always agitated by material conditions, the yogic process is recommended so that one may concentrate his mind upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead within the heart. Dhyana vashista tadgatena manasa pashyanti yam yogina. Because in material conditions, the mind and senses are always agitated by the yogic procedures like dharan, asan, and dhyan, one must quiet the mind and concentrate it upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, the yogic process is a material attempt to realize the Lord, whereas bhakti, devotional service, is the spiritual process by which to realize him. Maharaj Khatwanga accepted the spiritual path, and therefore he was no longer interested in anything material. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktya mam abhijanati, only by devotional service can I be understood. One can understand Krishna, the Parabrahman, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only through devotional service. The Lord never says that one can understand him by performing mystic yoga or by philosophically speculating. Bhakti is above all such material attempts. Anya bhilashita shunyam jnana karmadya anavritam. Bhakti is uncontaminated, being unalloyed even by jnana or pious activities. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Prabhuji, back to you.
Thank you so much. So in the upper planetary systems, where these demigods are present, there are more opportunities for gratifying the senses, right? Like Nanda gardens, Apsara, Somarasa, etc., etc. And in those situations, it often becomes difficult. Therefore, Shri Kunti Maharani says, Janmashwarya Shruta Shribhi Edamana Madhapuman Neva Bhartiya Vidhatum Vitvam Akinchana Gocharam. High parentage, wealth, beauty, knowledge, learning, etc. may become a difficulty. When someone has a lot of wealth, a lot of everything at one's disposal, then one will not feel that I need God. I have servants, I have wealth, I have nice car, nice home, nice this, nice that. I can go anywhere, I can buy anything, I can, basically I'm God, right? But then Corona proves who is God. And tiny coronavirus, The point is, in the upper planets, it's therefore the demigods even pray, and we have read in Canto 5 of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam that they also pray to be born in the earthly planetary systems, where it is easier to perform bhakti, to take unalloyed shelter, uncontaminated, jnana karmadi anavrita, anya abhilasha shunya. Abhilasha means desire. Anya means other, anything other than pure bhakti. Shunya means we reduce them or cut them or be free from them. That is pure bhakti. And how can Krishna be understood? Through bhakti, not through jnana, not through this yogic processes. Prabhupada is saying they are a material attempt to realize Lord. Lord is transcendental. So a material attempt cannot help us to understand the transcendental Lord. His Grace Gaur Gopal Prabhu, when he came to our college, gave a nice example. We cannot measure distance with a weighing scale, right? We can measure weight with a weighing scale. Similarly, we cannot measure weight with an inch tape or a measuring tape. To even measure material things, we cannot use the tools interchangeably. Like we cannot measure temperature with a decibel meter, right? Or sound with a thermometer, right? These are all material things. The point is, how can we understand the Supreme Lord with some material terms? We cannot understand. So we have to use the transcendental tools, the transcendental Golokira Premadana Harinam Sankirtana. It's a transcendental sound vibration. Bhakti is transcendental, chanting, reading, hearing. So these are the ways to understand the Supreme Lord. Any other comments anyone has? So we'll read text 47. Those who didn't get chance yesterday, I guess Kashish Mataji wanted to read yesterday and we paused there. So Mataji, you can start.
जी प्रभु जी हरे कृष्ण दंडवत प्रणाम Nandatanam, all devotees, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Text number 47. Atesha Maya Chirateshu Sangam Guneshu Gandharva Purupa Mameshu Rudam Prakatyatmani Vishwakartu Bharve Nahitva Tamaham Prapatye. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Therefore, I should now give up my attachment for things created by the external energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I should engage in thought of the Lord and should thus surrender unto Him. This material creation, having been created by the external energy of the Lord, is like an imaginary town visualized on a hill or in a forest. Every conditioned soul has a natural attraction and attachment for material things, but one must simply give up this attachment and surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport: when passing through a mountainous region in an airplane, one may sometimes see a city in the sky with towers and palaces, or one may see similar things in a big forest. This is called Gandharvapura, a phantasmagoria. This entire world resembles such a phantasmagoria, and every materially situated person has attachment for it. But Khatwanga Maharaj, because of his advanced Krishna consciousness, was not interested in such things. Even though a devotee may engage in apparently materialistic activities, he knows his position very well. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yuktam Vairagyam Uchyate. If one engages all material things in relation with the loving service of the Lord, one is situated in Yukta Vairagya, proper renunciation. In this material world, nothing should be accepted for one's sense gratification. Everything should be accepted for the service of the Lord. This is the mentality of the spiritual world. Maharaj Khatwanga advises that one give up material attachment and surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus one achieves success in life. This is pure Bhakti Yoga, which involves Vairagya Vidya, renunciation, and knowledge. Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga Siksartham Ekaha Purusha Purana Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta Kripam Buddhira Yastam Aham Prapadye. Let me surrender unto the personality of Godhead, who has appeared now as Lord Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu. He is the ocean of all mercy and has come down to teach us material detachment, learning, and devotional service to himself. Chaitanya Chandrodaya Nataka 6.74. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inaugurated this movement of Vairagya Vidya, by which one detaches himself from material existence and engages in loving devotional service. The Krishna consciousness movement of devotional service is the only process by which to counteract our false prestige in this material world. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Back to you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Kṛṣṇa, did you please tell your comments, realizations?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. This is actually in context with the question which I asked yesterday, that what should be our ultimate goal? That we should surrender ourselves and everything related to us in this material world to Krishna, and then it converts our materialistic thoughts towards the Lord, and we surrender to Lord. And for this purpose, Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu appeared on this earth to give the Bhakti Yoga Prem Yoga to all wandering souls like me. This is my understanding, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Nityaṁ. So here Prabhupada is saying that Atesha Maya Rachiteshu Sangam. The external potency of Maya is, Prabhupada is saying it's like a phantasmagoria. Gandharvapuri. So it's like a dream, daydreaming. We read a story yesterday about daydreaming in the morning time. And one is dreaming. It's also a dream, right? You know this famous story, one time a king was dreaming, and then he thought in his dream that I'm like a butterfly. And a butterfly. So then later he asked his ministers that, am I the butterfly dreaming like a king to be a king? I'm really a butterfly? Or am I the king who is dreaming to be a butterfly? Right? Interesting question. And then later one intelligent devotee replied that actually both are in one-way dreams only, because both are not the true identity. This identity, this position, name, fame, recognition, wealth, home, it is like Gandharvapura. It is illusory, phantasmagoric. So one should not be too attached to the things of this world. Rather, one must surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the message of Katwal Maharaj. And they both go parallel, because artificial detachment is not possible until one takes the higher taste. And that higher taste is Bhakti Yoga. So, Janeshya Shuvairagyam Jnanam Cham. There's a famous verse, 177, I believe, in the Bhagavatam, that if one takes to the process of bhakti, Bhagavad Bhakti Prayojita Janeshya Shuvairagyam Jnanam Chayat Ahetukam. So, Vairagya and detachment and knowledge naturally come. Why? One who takes to the process of Bhakti Yoga. Whatever is not conducive, we naturally, very easily, one is able to give up. Right? The craving for sense gratification, selfish sense gratification, craving to eat in restaurants or watch mundane, shows, or theaters and malls. That's one just very easily able to give up. Why? Because one is so absorbed in the Bhakti Yoga process. This is what is mentioned. Lord Chaitanya has specifically appeared to teach us all material detachment and devotional service to himself. Śrī Caitanya Caritāmṛta. He has taken the form of Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu. Vairagya Vidya, to teach Vairagya, give us the knowledge. Nija Bhakti Yoga. Nija means his own self. To teach Bhakti Yoga unto his own self. That is Krishna. Lord Chaitanya has appeared. Okay. So let's read the second last verse of this chapter. Yes, please.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Devotees, and Pranam. Our glories to Srila Prabhupada. Text number 48. Iti vyavasto buddhaya narayana grihitaya hitvanya bhagavam agnanam tata svam bhavam astita. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thus, Maharaj Katwanga, by his advanced intelligence in rendering service to the Lord, gave up false identification with the body full of ignorance. In his original position of eternal servitorship, he engaged himself in rendering the service to the Lord. Purport. When one actually becomes purely Krishna consciousness, no one has any right to rule over him. When situated in Krishna consciousness, one is no longer in the darkness of ignorance. And when freed from such darkness, one is situated in his original position. Jivera Swaruphaye Krishnera Nityadas. The living entity is eternally the servant of the Lord, and thus when he engages himself in the service of the Lord, in all respects, he enjoys the perfection of life. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So you just informed, a few minutes ago how a pure devotee doesn't want anything from the Lord, even the mukti. He just wants wherever he is to be able to serve the Lord. You said even Rasatala, Patala, or like the gopis, they were ready to go to the hellish planets just for a moment's pleasure of Lord Krishna. So if we depend on Krishna, as you said, it can be Krishna's dog or Krishna's hand, Krishna's whatever, if we are able to serve Lord Krishna, that is the greatest achievement what we can. So that's what I understood, Prabhuji. Please add, Hare Krishna.
Krishna, thank you. Very nice, Prabhu. Advanced intelligence in serving. Iti vyavasito buddhya. His buddhi completely absorbed in Krishna. Who knows a verse from Bhagavad Gita which talks about the same thing?
Tesham eva anukampartha. That one, Prabhuji. Tesham eva anukampartha.
That's also
Ignorance.
quite valid. I'm looking for one in chapter 2, which talks about Vyavasito Buddhya.
Vyavasayatmaka buddhi.
Yes.
Vandana. Bahushakha.
Very nice, Mataji. Shaka. Next, let's further.
Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekehi kuranandana bahushaka hi anantasya buddhayo avyavasayana.
Very nice. Which verse is it?
2.36
0.41.
0.41.
141, I think.
0.41.
Good. So, Mataji, is it in your 50 list?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Anyone remembers?
Tyasāmāṁ samurdhata mrityu sansara sagarat.
Very nice. In the Gajendra Stuti, also the prayers begin with this. The prayers, when Gajendra begins his prayer, I'm going to read this very special prayer from Canto 8, chapter 3, text number 1. Very, very similar verse. Shri Badarayan Uvacha. Let me share my screen so you can also see. Very similar verse here. Evam vyavastito buddhya. Same. Vyavastito buddhya. Great souls have their intelligence completely fixed. Samadhayana manohridi jajapa paramam japyam pragjanmani anukshikshitam. So that's exactly what here the consciousness of Khatwang Maharaj. So all great souls in the same consciousness. That means their intelligence completely fixed in rendering the service. That means they have given up any false intelligence. And that's what Sri Prabhu was quoting. By engaging in bhakti, Krishna gives the mercy with the lamp of knowledge, destroys the darkness of ignorance. What is the darkness of ignorance? I, me, and mine. False identification. So with the higher intelligence, one can give up this ignorance. Krishna Surya Sama Maya Hoy Andhaka. Yaha Krishna Taha Nahi Maya Radhika. Where Krishna is there, well, how can there be darkness or false identification? One is situated in true consciousness. That I am Chaitanya Ridas Moi Chaitanya Ridas, Chaitanya Ridas Moi Dasir Ranidas. And the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu. Chinmaya Bhaskara Tumi Kiranirakana Ami Prabhu Tumi Ami Nitya Das. Again, so many verses that Krishna, I am a servant, you are the master. Prabhu Tumi Ami Das. The whole reason we are in difficulty in this material world because we want to become Prabhu. We want to become master. We want to become an enjoyer. Aham bhogi, aham karta, aham. We read 16.13, 14, 15 in the last Bhagavad Gita class so many times. I am the enjoyer, I am the master, I am this, I am great, this belongs to me, I have this wealth, tomorrow I have this much wealth. All this is the demoniac thinking. But great souls think, Krishna, I am your servant. This is my true identity. So you can think of the evam yostita buddhi, with mind firmly vyavasaya. In vyavasaya means he's always focusing on business. A businessman always is thinking how to grow the business, right? So vyavasaya buddhi. We should also have vyavasaya buddhi. Vyavasaya buddhi means in business there are two things. What are the two things? Profit and loss, right? Yeah, the profit loss, they do the balance sheet and everything. Is there any business which does not run profit loss sheet? There's no such business, right? So in bhakti also we should run profit and loss sheet. We should see what are the activities which are losing, which are leading to loss. That means which are not conducive to Krishna consciousness. It's like loss, time wasters, which are taking me away from the service, away from Krishna consciousness, etc. We should analyze. We all will find something. I can talk about myself. If I honestly analyze, I'll find that this is leading to a loss. And we should also understand what is leading to profit. Association of devotees, chanting sincerely, reading, hearing, etc., etc. So the point is, we should be business focused and analyze what's leading to profit, what's leading to loss, so that we can continue in this journey of bhakti. So Khatwang Maharaj completely situated in that mode. Let's read the last verse. Yes, Prabir Prabhu, want to read?
Hare Kṛṣṇa Prabhu, Hare Kṛṣṇa devotees, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Śrīla Prabhupada. Text 49. Jat tat brahma param shukshmam ashunyam shunya kalpitam bhagavan vasudeveti jam grinnanti hi shatbataha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, Krishna, is extremely difficult to understand for unintelligent men who accept Him as impersonal or void, which He is not. The Lord is therefore understood and sung about by pure devotees. Purport. As stated in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 11. Vadantita tattavidas tattam jaj jnanam addayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate. The absolute truth is realized in three phrases as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Bhagavan is the origin of everything. Brahman is a partial representation of Bhagavan and Vasudeva. The super soul living everywhere and in everyone's heart is also an advanced realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But when one comes to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva Sarvamiti, when one realizes that Vasudeva is both Paramatma and the impersonal Brahman, he is then in perfect knowledge. Krishna is therefore described by Arjuna as Param Brahma Param Dhama pavitram paramam bhavam. The words Param Brahma refer to the shelter of the impersonal Brahman and also of the all-pervading Supersoul. When Krishna says, Tekta deham punarjanma noeti mamiti, this means that the perfect devotee, after perfect realization, returns home back to Godhead. Maharaj Khattanga accepted the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and because of his full surrender, he achieved perfection. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 9th canto, 9th chapter of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, entitled The Dynasty of Aṁśumān. Hare Krishna. So here Srila Prabhupada is explaining that the forms a realization, we can say, that how Lord is realized in three different. Actually, Srila Prabhupada so many times put nice, actually analytical, that Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. And Prabhupada here again clearly is saying, actually for me it's reminding that Bhagavan is the origin of everything. And Brahman realization of Bhagavan, it is the partial realization, representation. And the super soul in everyone's heart is also, Prabhupada is saying, it's an advanced realization. But the perfection is when someone understands that Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan, he is a person. And we can have relationship with him, and we can realize him. He is our friend. He is the supreme proprietor. He is the supreme enjoyer. So when we realize all these things, then our realization becomes perfect. And Prabhupada also mentioning the famous verse from Arjuna when he was confirming that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was saying, Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavam. And so Prabhupada here is actually, for me, it's like telling us again that how we can realize and what is the best form of realization. Hare Krishna Prabhu, please back to you. Please add or correct.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. The unintelligent man cannot understand me. Bhagavad Gita verse, who will tell? Yes.
Avajananti mang mura manusing tunumasritam param bhavam ajananta.
Yes. Last line.
Param bhavam ajananta param
Mama Bhuta.
Param.
What's the number? Who knows the number?
I think so.
11.
Very nice. And of course, it's scholarly. And then the next part, only devotees can understand me. Which verse of Bhagavad Gita? Yes, Moksha.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, all devotees, Sanat Pranam. Prabhuji, 18.55. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschashvita tvada tato mam tatvato gyatva vishite tat anantaram.
Very nice. Okay, define. That's the same topic we are discussing here. Brahmasamhita also say the same thing. Vedeshu durlabam adurlabam atma bhaktau. We cannot understand Krishna by gyan, by our own speculation, or by some tapa, by all these material processes. How can we understand atma bhaktau? A selfless, sincere devotee. The Lord is therefore understood and sung about. Grinanti is satvataha. Grinanti means they're singing. They're always singing. Manmana bhamad bhakto madhyachi. Oh no, what is that verse? Machchita madkata prana bodhayanta parasparam. They're talking about Krishna, they're discussing Krishna Katha, they are conversing with Tushyanti Charamanti Cha. They're taking great delight and they're doing Raman in the pastimes of Radhika Raman. So, this is the last verse, and then the Lord, who is extremely difficult to understand, becomes easy through the power of bhakti. So let's do a quick recap of this chapter entitled The Dynasty of Hanshumang. So Hanshumān was the son of
Asanjasa,
Asmanjasa, the mystical personality. Who was the son of?
Sagara,
Sagar, King Sagar. So King Sagar, 60,000 children had gone to search out for horse. They went to the ashram of Kapila Muni, thinking that he has stolen. We discussed that point. That's all in the previous chapter. But in this chapter, basically, now Anşumān was sent. His attempts, the attempts were made to bring Ganga Devi. So was Aṁśumān. So it was not that Anşumān, when he went, let's see. Anşumān performed austerities for a very long time. Okay, and then his son Dilip also tried. Dilip also died. Then Dilip's sons Bhagirath performed austerities, and Bhagirath was instrumental. Well, they all were instrumental, but finally Bhagirath was that person. We discussed that example of breaking a wall, if you remember. So Bhagirath was able to please Ganga Mata, but Ganga Devi had two concerns. Number one, if I come, my force is, who knows the meaning of Ganga? We discussed that. Anyone? Ga means which flows. Nindaganam yatha Ganga, right? Deva nama chuto yatha Purana nam Vaishnava nam yatha Shambhu Purana nam. So Ga means force. So much force the Mata Ganga flows with. So it was the first concern that she will pierce the surface of the earth and go all the way to Rasatal, Patal, etc. Who would sustain? Then secondly, Ganga Mata said, well, people will come to purify themselves, and then how will I purify myself, right, of the sinful reactions of the people? So Prabhupada gives an elaborate purport to this verse that spiritual master takes the sins of the disciple, but it doesn't mean that disciples should commit more sins. Similarly, people go to Ganga and get purified, but after that they'll come out and smoke bidi, cigarette, drink chai, coffee. What's the use of going to Ganga? It's like elephant bathing. You take a nice bath in the transcendental water of Ganga and then put sand over it. That's elephant bathing. So not good. But then Bhagirath Maharaj replies to Ganga Devi's questions. Two concerns and two verses were there. Text 6 is the verse. If anyone wants to learn any verse from this chapter, then this is text 6. Sadhavo nyasina shanta brahmishta loka pavana haranti aghante anga sangat teshavastehya aghabhid dharita dharihi. Devotees are detached from desires and are always peaceful. Nyasi and shanta. Nyashina. They are always fixed up in the service of the Lord. They purify the world. They're walking tirthas. Tirtham kurvanti tirthani. Why? Because they're always carrying Krishna in their heart. Sadhavo hridayo nahi. Tomara hriday govinda vishram. the Krishna resides in the heart of devotees because they're always chanting and hearing about Krishna. They will remove your sins by coming and dipping their lotus feet in your water, Mata Ganga. So don't worry, because they are carrying Hari, who is the destroyer of all the sins. So that was the first concern. And then she said that I'll please Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva will sustain your force. And therefore, he is named as Gangadhar. Gangadhar, the name of Lord Shiva. So, Lord Shiva's mercy and power, Bhagirath then performed austerities to please Lord Shiva, who was Ashutosh. She was easily pleased. And then she was sustained Mata Ganga. And then Sagara's sons were delivered. Ganga Mata flowed there. And Bhagirath was moving on his chariot with great speed. In between, there's a story in the Valmiki Ramayana about Janumuni. Janumuni ashram was flowed by Ganga Mata. Janumuni Muni drank the whole Ganga, and then Bhagirath had to plead, well, how will my ancestors get delivered, Baba? Please release him. And then with his ear, he released Ganga Mata, and the name is Janvi. Ganga, 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 Tripati God. It flows in all the three upper, middle, and lower planets. Upper planets known as Mandakini. Middle planets, Ganga. Lower planets, Bhogavati. It's the only river. And then we also talk about the pink water, the glories of Mother Ganga, text 14 onwards. So all the sons of Sagar were delivered, 60,000 sons, ashes, they were burnt to ashes, and they were trying to judge Kapila Muni. And why she could deliver? Because she emanates from the lotus feet of Lord Ananta. So she can deliver one from the material bondage. Ganga, three parts, that the liquid form of God, right? Coming from Krishna's lotus feet, the pinkish tinge, because anywhere you see the deities, at home or temple, you'll see the deities the souls are reddish or pinkish, and the lotus feet is marked with different symbols, the 19 symbols. So by devoting our mind fully on Mata Ganga and on the Supreme Lord, Ganga Mata, with faith, etc., one will be delivered. So this is a lot of verses are there about the glories of Mata Ganga here. In the spiritual world also we have discussed she's Vara Prema Manjari. We discussed that. We also discussed in the daughter of Himavan, the sister of Parvati, and in the Dwarka Leela, Ganga Mata is the queen of Krishna, named Mitravinda, like Yamuna's name is Kalindi. So multiple glories are there. We connected the story of Bali Maharaj also. We discussed how Vaman, the covering of the universal was pierced, and from Krishna's feet, Ganga Mata started to flow. Then we talk about the story of Saudasa. There were multiple kings in the dynasty of Bhagirath, and then there was a personality named Saudasa. And he was a nice king, but somehow he did a mistake, unknowingly mistake. He killed a Rakshasa while hunting in the forest. And Rakshasa's brother came to his palace and then served his guru, Saudasa's guru, Vashishta, preparation which had meat. And Vashishta got angry upon this and he says, you are acting like a Rakshasa, you become a man-eater. So for 12 years, this curse would be valid for 12 years. And later we read that how this curse was removed. Probably it's a matter of time. But Saudasa developed this propensity and was devouring people. And then one time he saw a Brahmana with his wife. They were trying to have a child. And then Saudasa captured this Brahmana and was about to devour him. And then Brahmani really pleads, please don't kill him. He's a great Brahmana. lot of nice qualities, and you are a protector, don't kill him. But Sudasa didn't listen. He devoured. The wife cursed, you will also die a same death if you try to mate with your wife or queen. So the time passed by, and Sudasa's previous curse was over, 12 years were over. And then finally, the dynasty continues, and then this great king Khatavanga comes in this dynasty. And we have been talking about him, that how he helped demigods, didn't ask for anything material, asked for only one thing, Krishna's lotus feet. Mind completely fixed at his lotus feet, attained the topmost destination in one moment. This is a quick summary of this chapter. We can take one or two comments, reflections, or thoughts if anyone has. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. I really like this point about, so Maharaja Khatavanga is saying that he will surrender. And in the text 48, Prabhupada says, no one can rule in the purport, first line. When one actually becomes, text 48, purport, first line. When one actually becomes purely Krishna conscious, no one has any right to rule over him. And it really made an impact, because I feel Prabhupada is saying we allow Maya to rule over us. And that's why we can't surrender. And then Prabhupada, very nicely says that no one is no longer in the darkness of ignorance. So I really felt that was very powerful. Do you agree that's the sense we should take this sentence? Do you have any addition?
It's really powerful. Thank you for bringing that up.
And then I really also like that how Vasishtha repented. It says, after that, he had given the curse, but at the later, Vasishtha Muni regretted that he had given the curse, and he went for purification process, I believe it says. And then what was Vasishtha Muni was invited for dinner. Vasishtha Muni, he could understand, and then he says he wanted to cleanse himself or something, and that was very extraordinary too. And then, and as if nothing has happened between two, like no one, he didn't curse him, he didn't eat anybody. He was perfectly fine with Vasishtha Muni continuing the dynasty through his wife, and his wife's name is what we read was Deyati or some Mandyati or something. And it's really powerful, because we can also have misunderstanding. We don't have in this is not Kali Yuga, this is Kali Yuga, so curses don't work, and nobody's that powerful. But we can also forgive completely. Madhyanti is his wife's name. We can completely forgive and really not have any grudges, and continue to do our service. Back to you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mataji. Very nice comments. Anyone else has any other comments, reflections, or pause?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Today we read about that Vairagya Yukti by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And I just remember the pastime of Mahaprabhu, like when he went on the South India tour. At that time, he was just sleeping at the side of the road night. And morning, when he was going to take a bhiksha from the houses, he was asking them to do the chanting of the holy name. He was chanting Hari Hari. And with the response to him, all the people were chanting Hari Hari. So I think that way he was teaching the Vairagya, how to follow the Krishna consciousness. That I wanted to add to. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mataji. at this point. Okay, well, it's almost 8:50, so we can pause here and continue tomorrow. Yeah, if you have comments, realization, your thoughts, you can share tomorrow as well. So we'll pause here. And Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Shri Bhagirath Maharaj ki jai. Shri Ganga Mata ki jai. Shri Caitanya Maharaj ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Samaveta Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhya Thank you. Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Hare Kṛṣṇa. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.